Now, a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
Hello, everyone, and good evening. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. And we do have severe thunderstorms. We're going to peruse what's going on right now. Huge hail, not just large hail, but we're talking huge hail has been reported from some of these storms. They're forming in eastern South Dakota and moving into west central Minnesota in some areas that have already been hit hard by storms. We also have some storms elsewhere. We're going to talk about that. Your photos, your uploads, it's all next right here. But let's get started with a look at the latest radar. Now, as we zoom in on the newest warnings to get you caught up to date, if you are in Fergus Falls, a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for areas just south of you and into the Elbow Lake area. This storm moving northeast, it has really decreased in intensity just a pinch over the last couple of scans. That's good. Now, this particular warning is only in effect for the next 9 minutes, but as the storm continues to make its way to the north and east, expect that potential for sizable hail. Definitely the hail potential with this storm was a little bit greater on a few scans moments ago. Now, the latest warning, check this one out, heading towards Alexandria out of the Morris area. This heater here in pink shown here, capable of considerable hail. Golf ball size hail is expected and gusts over 60 miles per hour. And this storm has a history. Do you see these little triangles here? It's moved all the way from areas north of the Ortonville area, all the way through the Morris area with 1.75 inch hail here. And look at this. 2.75 inch diameter hail reported by a trained spotter. That was just 3 miles southwest of Donnelly, Minnesota, by a trained spotter. And again, that storm continues to work its way off and heading towards Alexandria right now. Will it stay as strong? That's yet to be seen. But as a look with this particular storm's hail potential, check this out from the National Weather Service with regards to reporting severe hail. 2.75 inches, that's baseballs falling from the sky. So we have huge hail working its way through areas just north of Morris and crossing into the northeastern portion. Well, let's go ahead and get your counties all updated here so you can see, but it's northwesternmost Pope County. Here we go. And northwesternmost Pope County, Douglas County, as well as you folks until 6:30 for those golf ball sized hailstones, maybe even larger at times from this storm, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. Thank you so much to all of you who are sharing stars with Hutch here and who are following on the broadcast. Keep in mind, if you don't happen to be a Facebook user, you can always get the latest from meteorologist Hutch Johnson on my brand new website, hutchesweather.com. It was just launched. Go check it out. We'll go there in a moment. Right now, I want to track this particular storm. Let's get to the latest for you folks with the considerable damage potential from this cell as it works its way towards Home City. The white line that you see here, and in fact, the blue colors you see here would indicate even higher hail potential as it moves into Kensington. So in Kensington, moments away, there is a hail core making its way towards you and Home City. The latest movement from this storm's motion, northeast. East-northeast at about 25 to 28 miles per hour. Here's where this storm is heading. We'll go from the hail core, making its way in that general direction of Alexandria, where there has already been wind damage reported in the area. I am going to use a little bit higher speed just to give you time to prepare from tonight's dangerous storms in only 8 minutes. The time presently is 5:39 Central Time. Add 8 minutes to that, 5:39 plus 8:47. So around that 5:47 time frame, I know my math is quite impressive. I studied a little bit of math in meteorology, and here it is heading its way towards Home City. It'll be there in about 25 minutes. So prepare for large hail and wind gusts burping out of this system upwards of 60 miles per hour. That's where that storm is heading. The warning for your area in Donnelly should be allowed to expire very shortly as that storm is exiting the warned area completely. Elbow Lake, there's been a storm near you. That storm threat does continue. as we head into your evening hours here and cross towards the 5:45 time frame. There's been a whole host of storms here doing this, following each other. You see this little red pimple right here? Check out where this red pimple came from. Watch it and watch the movement behind them as these storms developed late in the afternoon. And here they go, drifting by Elbow Lake with a warning. Boom, there. Now another one. Now another one coming and another one after that. This is called training. Those thunderstorms are pulling just like a choo-choo train on the tracks through the same areas. Hailstorm, copious amounts of lightning, and rain that could be flooding with regards to the following of one storm after another. Many of these storms are producing ridiculous rainfall rates. So let's go over the storm total precipitation estimates by Doppler radar. I do think I will get a closer radar view from this of this storm here from maybe, let's shoot for the Aberdeen radar here just to get something a little bit closer with regards to the storm. I'm not able to switch that up here right now. Let me see. Boom. And here it is. Okay, so maybe not. Maybe I'll have to go to this one and I'll do this. I'm going to fool the computer into getting me the radar data that I want. Okay, let's go back. Storm total precipitation estimates. Here is a look in the Morris area where storms are training over in Elbow Lake area. Look at the crosshairs here, right in the middle of the screen. Rainfall estimates from the storms that have already moved through Elbow Lake are over 2 inches. And we have another one downstream from that moving out of Wheaton. That's already produced in the Wheaton area 2 to 3 inches of estimated rainfall. Hail can sometimes skew these numbers a little bit too high. Suffice it to say, in between rain gauges, some strong and severe storms are going to continue to track right into western parts of Grant County. So from Wheaton through Herman and on into Elbow Lake and Wendell, the rain is expected to continue for the next hour or two with these heavy storms. And oh, by the way, there's gully washers taking place for round 3 and 4 in parts of northeast South Dakota, where radar estimates are, see with these red pixels here, 3 to 5 inches of rain estimated by Doppler radar in these particular areas. So keep in mind, Lake City and these parts, if you come across flooded roadways, turn around, don't drown. Flooding could be a problem tonight as these storms are expected to continue. Now, here is a look back at the threats from these storms working their way through now. We do have the storm heading into Douglas County from the Hoffman area. This is heading towards Alexandria. That's severe large hail potential. Storms exiting Elbow Lake are making their way through. This warning is in effect for the next 2 minutes, but guess what? More storms are coming your way. Keep you posted on that. And now, if you do happen to be in the Wheaton area, look at these storms here. These, a lot of pink left in those. 1-inch diameter hail, maybe a little larger, and 60 mile per hour wind gusts will be possible. If you have severe weather to report, remember, when it's safe to do so, find the largest diameter hailstone you can and measure it if you possibly can, or compare it to something that is very familiar. A quarter, a $50, a ping pong ball, a golf ball, baseball in the case of the storms that moved through parts of west central Minnesota moments ago. And now in Sisseton, another round of storms moving right over you in the I-29 corridor here. There's no warning for this particular storm yet, but it does look like that storm has increased in intensity just a pinch as it's worked its way in your general direction. Shelley, thanks for the stars. Thanks so much, Joanne. Thanks, Jack. I appreciate all of you for supporting Hutch. If you do have any questions, you can always drop me a comment right here on the live Facebook feed, and I will try to answer your questions. And you can also post your photos of severe weather reports on hutchesweather.com. So that's my brand new website. Here's a quick look at that. Go to hutchesweather.com and let us know your location. And it will put up at the very top, if any alerts are in your area, it will let you know. So if a storm sneaks in overnight, then you can look here to get the latest on whether it's severe or not. You can enter your email address right in this box right here. I'm going to type mine, Hutch's Weather, Hutch Johnson. Okay. You type your name in there with your full email address and hit the sign up button there. And I will not sell your data, but what I will do is in instances where I feel like it's urgent to get a hold of folks, I'm going to send you an email saying Hutch has an update for you. Check it out now. Come to the website and you're right here. Please keep my sponsors in mind all along the top bar here right now and growing. If you're a sponsor and you'd like some high visibility, Hutch's Weather is the place to be. Here's your storm look on the radar. It's interactive. You can zoom in on the website, check out what's heading toward the Twin Cities. Oh my goodness, what a long year of strong storms it's been. Windy storms moving into Duluth are losing some of their punch right now. Also up north near the International Falls area, we have storms that have formed there, not far from International Falls, right over the big lake up in International Falls, a Lake of the Woods. Roseau County seeing storms being fairly persistent, swirling around that area as well. And by the way, if you happen to be watching in the beautiful city of Omaha, Nebraska, a round of severe thunderstorms is working its way through your area. More on that momentarily. Elsewhere on Hutch's Weather, if you have severe weather to report, here are my latest updates for the Northern Plains region here around Fargo-Moorhead. You can get the latest video. And by the way, since I'm doing one right now, we'll show you what that looks like. At the top of the page, if I happen to be live, it will tell you at the top of the page. You can click on that and watch for the very latest update. Okay, also, this is where you can upload your photos and your videos, and this is what it looks like when you do so. This is my way and your way of taking part in the coverage of severe weather. You upload it right here, and in almost real time, I can get to it and show you some of the content that you are uploading, like damage to trees in Alexandria from round one. Look out, Alexandria. There's some more storms heading your way. This time, I think more hail. Check out this beautiful, just huge supercell thunderstorm. Look at these stripes on the outside. Those are called striations. It looks like a corkscrew. That storm was mean, producing wind damage as it worked its way through southeast North Dakota and into Lakes Country where significant damage was done. Pontoons and boat canopies flipped over and debris all over from patio furniture from winds that were estimated to be 80 miles per hour earlier today. Scroll through, find the latest. There's even fun stuff in here from area events. If you've had an area event, if you have anything going on that's related to weather or our area, post a picture up here. I'll share it with the viewers right here. And again, thanks so much for taking the time to upload your photos. Now, let's get back to the radar and we'll finish up with a look at a couple of different things. I've updated your forecast, but let's talk about where these storms are heading real quickly. Just by drawing and using my pencil, I want to show you some analysis so you have the basic understanding of what's going on. Looks like another thunderstorm warning here down in south central Minnesota, not far from the Wilmer-Hutchinson area, Olivia. This storm is making its way towards Glencoe, New Ulm, outside of Wilmer, off to the east. These storms are basically going to do this. A few of them are going to skirt into Otter Tail County and then turn southward is the way the models are projecting this. So they're going to kind of go this way and then move down this way. As they move into this air down here, there is a ton of humidity here and still some energy in the atmosphere for storms to be severe. The greatest risk, damaging wind. Some huge hail, as we've seen here, baseballs falling in places. A lot of damage across the region. And again, more overnight storms. A quick look at a different model this time. I showed you one model last time. I'm going to sneak in another model look this time just to show you that models are different sometimes, and we take a look at what they're offering up. This is a look from this evening. We do have activity in Roseau County near Lake of the Woods and International Falls moving northward. This is not happening at this particular time. So Hutch says, get rid of that model for now because it's not initializing well. It's not starting off good. Now let's look at this model and see what it says for the afternoon forecast. And look at this. As we head into the evening, it has storms in North Dakota moving out and across all of Minnesota with wind as we go into the late afternoon and evening, moving down into parts of southern Minnesota. We don't have a lot of North Dakota storms right now. Most of them are in South Dakota. So this model also not doing the greatest job of highlighting what is going on. This is what makes forecasting interesting. So let's look at one more model. And this one here shows more of a South Dakota development of storms here in the evening hours. This one seems to have a better handle and a better grasp on the current situation. It's having these storms skirt through Lakes Country, but the main event now that's forming in the Watertown area and points near Sisseton will move east and then south. And this is into the deep hours of the night, 8 to 10 o'clock. moving into south central parts of Minnesota and in toward the Twin Cities. The risk for wind will be there through the overnight hours all night. Some areas could see hail, but that threat should diminish gradually as we head into the deep night hours after sunset. So again, a look at the progression on multiple models showing the storms that do form now should be diving south and east through southern Minnesota. So anywhere from, say, Highway 10 and points south, that's where it looks like to me the risk will maintain for the night tonight. That is a quick look at your weather. I am meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Now let me look and see if I have comments on Facebook. Somebody lost their roof in DL, Tanner says. So if anybody has photos that they would like to upload, Detroit Lakes lost their roof, the budget host. That is an unconfirmed report, but Tanner, I do appreciate your sharing of that information. Looks like I got a new warning to tell you about as well here in just a few moments. The budget host apparently in DL has lost their roof. Ottertail is Ottertail in any storms. There is a storm warning south of you in Grant County, but right now Ottertail or Ottertail County are not under a severe thunderstorm warning. I will put the radar up behind Hutch here. Answering another question, do you think severe storms are winding down anytime soon around Breckenridge yet? I would say yes. There is a smattering of heavy rain. This is Breckenridge, Wahpeton right here where you've had some very serious storms with a lot of wind move through earlier. There's a lot of heavy rain continuing in your area. But as far as the severe risk, notice where all the red is. These storms to the south, because the wind is coming in from the east and the south, can rob some of your energy from the storms, rob some of your moist inflow of air into the storms. And that means your risk of severe storms is lower. There is a severe thunderstorm watch. They've been trimming a few counties from that. Let me continue with a couple more questions. Thank you all for your stars. I think that does cover it. A wrap up of the latest on the watches. Let me turn those watches back on so you can see. I've turned those off, by the way, because there gets to be too much stuff right here on the screen, and it gets a little hard to see all the colors. There's a new thunderstorm watch all the way up to Duluth. This also does include much of Lakes Country, including Walker and areas south of Bemidji into Hubbard County, straight down into the Twin Cities area for the late night hours. This new watch is in effect. Well, it looks like it's just been extended for a couple of counties. Let me see if they've added any in here. No. So they've extended the aerial coverage of this watch down to the south in the Twin Cities. These watches are still only in effect for the next hour or so. So that's what it looks like right now. Based on model trends, though, that I was just showing you, these storms are likely to move down into southern Minnesota, and I do believe that wind threat will be a real thing. If I was going to take one threat out of these storms, locally heavy rain, and also the risk for some hail upwards of, well, as you saw now, baseballs now, but as we go through the next couple of hours, that should diminish a little bit. Hotel, Highway 10, in town. I do not own the photos, seen videos and photos on another community page. Thanks, Tanner. I appreciate that. Anybody who does have some photos that you've taken of that you own, not that you're sharing from someone else, then, feel free to upload your photos to hutchesweather.com. Anything for Pennington County, it looks like the risk there is waning. I'll switch radars up to your area. We do have a couple of showers showing up or cells in Pennington County. Absolutely nothing on the order of severe. So I do believe that the risk for severe storms is done in places like Fargo-Moorhead, where we were in the watch. Valley City, the watch has been dropped for you. The watch is only in effect for the next hour. I'm going to take a look right now from the Storm Prediction Center, see if they have a discussion on whether or not they're thinking another watch might be necessary. They did, it looks like, add to the thunderstorm watch. Oh, this is later than it looks like. Maybe there's a problem with this this program showing the time. It says this watch expires in 1 hour, but I don't believe it. I think 1 a.m. I think 1 a.m. No, different watch. Pardon me. Yes. Okay. So up here in northwest Minnesota, a watch was issued, and it's valid until 7 p.m. So yeah, for the next hour or so, this storm watch is in effect. So I apologize for the confusion. I'm just trying to get the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. Now, with regards to what they think is going to be happening the rest of the night, let me see if they have any guidance on that. They do. Let me see. Go here. Okay, so it does look like the severe threat will continue for several more hours with wind damage and large hail, the primary threats. I just talked about that, and they have areas circled in southern Minnesota. So here's the forecast for tonight. As we talked about, southern Minnesota, these storms kind of diving south. Here, southwest, south central Minnesota, I think that's where some of the most potent hail potential will be. And then the wind threat will last into the overnight through the entire area, all the way down into Rochester as we go into daybreak. That's a look at the latest with the forecast for this area of the northern plains. And as we zoom in, you can see that it gets a little bit difficult to see where the warnings are with the watches on. So I'm going to turn those off. Maybe someday select a different color for those because I like different colors. All right, let's go ahead and turn those off and we will close this. All right, now we can see the warnings. Okay, hail, damaging straight line winds, hail, big hail, more prominent in these. We have tornado warnings for my viewers that are watching on my YouTube channel. I'm going to go ahead and continue coverage of what's going on in Omaha and beyond right on my YouTube channel. So if you would like to see more on that, please join over there. So what I'm going to do right now, just to let you know, we will go ahead and sign off on Facebook and sign off on my webpage streams, and we'll go ahead and continue the coverage on Hutch's Weather's YouTube channel. You can find that right here. Check it out. There is a link for it right here. Search Hutch's Weather on YouTube, and you'll find me right there. And then that's where I will continue the coverage for areas of the Central Plains where we have very hot heat weather that is driving storms moving right through Omaha now. That coverage begins right now. But if you're watching on my Facebook channel, if you're watching on my typical stream here, please, thanks for watching, and I will keep you updated on the other channel as far as the national weather goes. Thanks so much. All right, everybody, meteorologist Hutch Johnson continuing coverage here on my YouTube stream of some national weather going on across parts of eastern Nebraska, western parts of Iowa as storms continue in those general directions. And again, I sure appreciate you liking the video if you get any information out of it. If you do have a question, I'll be monitoring my stream here to see what questions you may have with regards to the weather that's going on in your area. So what we will do is keep your notes up here. I'm going to say hello to all of you that are joining on, and thank you very much for watching Hutch's Weather. Let's see. Do I think the next round of storms will hit the DL area tonight? Yes. Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. I think you're going to be on the north side of the very heavy and severe stuff in parts of North Dakota. So that's an answer to your question. If you do have a question nationally on weather going on, let's take a look at tornado warnings active in and around the area metropolitan areas around Omaha. It looks like north and eastern sides of town, not far from Council Bluffs. These are radar indicated tornadoes. Let's get right to the radar. Here we go. So let's take a look at the closest radar available in the Omaha area. And we're looking right here on this southern storm. Now, the southern storm, again, there's warnings, thunderstorm warnings for the entire area. But the red box you see from Omaha right here and into Trainer and Oakland, that is the tornado warned storm. Now, let's look at velocity so we can pinpoint the area of rotation regarding this particular storm. It looks like to me what we're looking at here is a line of very windy thunderstorms that could have a spin up on it. So a radar indicated possible tornado. Where is it? Let's take a look. We do have areas of green and red next to each other here and another area here. So there are a couple of areas along this leading outflow boundary that could be causing some spin-ups regarding tornadoes. Where is this at? That's really, really close here to the or approaching the Trainer area. So let's go ahead and measure that. That's 6 miles, 6.5 miles due west of Trainer at this time is one of the areas of rotation. And in Council Bluffs, this rotation is basically 3 miles. This secondary rotation, 3 miles to the north and to the east of Council Bluffs in Iowa. Again, let's take a quicker look at some of the other details that I have with regards to just velocity in the storms. And I do want to point this out. Damaging straight line winds. This is a wind storm making its way through Omaha. Thank you very much for watching, Greased Monkey 75. It's a pleasure to have you on. If you have a question, please drop it in the comments line. I'll try to get to it. Check out these wind speeds. Something that we can do with the radar that's located right here outside of Omaha. This is looking basically along with the winds. So the radar beam is pointed this way, and the gusty winds from this storm are blowing from west to east. So gusty straight line winds are blowing in this general direction. When that happens, Doppler radar can give us Doppler velocities along the radar beam. That means it's going to be very good at estimating the wind speed it's seeing at cloud level just above Omaha. That doesn't mean what I'm going to show you right now is going to be actual wind speeds that are on the ground, but it's a tool that I love using in meteorology to continue to monitor where the wind is the strongest above the ground. And sometimes that energy absolutely can be mixed down to the ground. Omaha, terrible winds are over the top of you. Look for the crosshairs. This is 67 mile per hour winds being measured right now, Doppler radar measured winds moving away from the radar west of Omaha. Okay, so this is wind from west to east at 70 miles per hour. Straight line winds are blasting into hot, humid air ahead of this storm, and that can cause spin-ups. We call those QLCS storms in meteorology, or tornadoes. They can last for a little while. They can be very destructive and strong. They don't typically have the long lifespan of some other tornadoes, but what they tend to do is pop up here and there. So they're hard to track. National Weather Service doing a good job of this. Look at some of these other speeds here in the orange colors. Are you kidding me? 105 mile per hour winds just off the ground now. This is not high in the clouds. 100 plus mile per hour winds heading into Omaha on the west side now. This is what's measured at cloud level. If you have relatives or family in Omaha, tell them about Hutch's weather here. 92 plus mile per hour wind velocities being measured by the Doppler radar in eastern parts of Nebraska right now, heading into Bellevue, into Omaha, and Council Bluffs. On the leading edge of this storm right here, that storm area, that is, well, there it is. The latest scan just come in. That's the leading edge where we get those QLCS type tornado spin-ups. There could be one right here where my hand is, because that is an area where we have a change in the wind speed as we go from one beam to the next. So I'm going to turn this crosshair off, and we'll get to covering this tornado warning here. This one is going to be moving right in the general direction of Quick. Let me get the latest from the National Weather Service on their movement of that. Doppler indicated tornado. Now it's an observed tornado. So there is an update to this. This is an observed tornado, and let's see what they're measuring or saying. From the central or from the folks at the National Weather Service office in Omaha, there is a tornado on the ground. It remains in effect. The warning does until 6:30. The tornado was confirmed and located over Council Bluffs Airport, 6 miles east of Council Bluffs, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So if we look at Council Bluffs as we zoom in, you can see where that is. If we look at the airport, the area right here, it's moving off to the east. It's moving fairly fast at 50 miles per hour. So let's take a look at, we don't need all the excessive heat warnings on here for today, but that's one of the reasons that's driving this. We do have an error on an instrument here. It says 32 degrees. I'm sure it's not freezing there. Omaha reporting 89 degrees. Out at Council Bluffs here, though, 32. That must be a mistake. So it literally is right over the airport, moving east at 50 miles per hour. So where is that tornado heading? That particular tornado is moving east, and as it's moving at 50 or 50 miles per hour, that'll put it very near Oakland. Let's put that at that. Okay, so here are some communities in the path of this observed tornado. If you are in Quick, if you are in Taylor, within 10 minutes, the storm will be over Taylor. Within about, 2 minutes now, Quick. So quickly, in Quick, get to the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. A home that's well built and attached to its foundation is what we're talking about. Get out of things like mobile homes, manufactured homes, get out of campers and things of that nature, and get to a sturdy structure. Get to the lowest floor and get to an interior room and put as many walls between you and the storm as possible. In the northern plains tonight, we've had wind storms producing 90 mile per hour winds, probably very similar to what some areas will experience in the Omaha Council Bluffs area. 90 plus mile per hour surface gusts will be likely in some isolated areas, maybe even higher. And those are spawning some tornadoes along the leading edge. Those are very dangerous, and they're moving very fast. So do not get out there with your cameras. It's time to seek shelter. If you're in Oakland, you have a little bit more time, about 19 minutes, as this continues to punch its way out of Nebraska and into western parts of Iowa. So that's a very stout thunderstorm, dangerous. This is a radar indicated tornado warning on the north side of town. I'll take you in for the latest on that. That warning is only for the next 10 minutes. But once again, the radar is going to do a good job. See how this one has this backward C shape to it? That backward C shape is called a bowing segment. And that bowing of the storm is a telltale sign of the direction the winds are blowing. So this area is seeing winds from more of a southwesterly direction blowing up in that direction. Now, along the leading edge of that, we could have spin ups in that leading edge of that. And those tornadoes have been picked up at time to time on the Doppler radar scans. I'm going to go back in scans and watch this just a little bit since it's the first I'm looking at this line. And when those storms moved right over Fort Calhoun. Do you see that? Fort Calhoun right there, there's some spin, and there's another little area of discrepancy of the wind speeds right here as well. That area right there is likely where the Doppler indicated tornado was, and that is continuing to move generally in that general direction along the north side near Missouri Valley. Anywhere along this leading edge, though, we could have a spin up, so keep that in mind. As this storm works its way out of the Omaha area and pushes towards the Missouri Valley. So out in Iowa, we've got storms crossing the border right now. If you're in Nebraska City, let's see what we got down here. I think we're picking up another, what we call a tornado vortex structure. So let me go ahead and go down there. Okay, so if you're in southeast Nebraska, south of Omaha, and that area, we are going to see near Nebraska City, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for a huge area. Why? It's gusty straight line winds, the main threat. All of these yellow colors you see here are wind measurements by the Doppler radar that are in excess of 70 miles per hour. You can expect very nasty straight line winds to be blowing out of Nebraska City and in towards the Shenandoah area as it's crossing the river valley. And see this red and green right here moving out of Sidney heading towards Shenandoah? That could be another spin up. There is no tornado warning for that area. But what this is showing is that we have some tight rotation and spin right in this area. On this side, a surge or push of very gusty west winds heading to Riverton right now. And if you look here near Sidney, we have that. So this is not too far from you folks on that I-29 corridor through that area of western parts of Iowa, eastern parts of Nebraska. Heading into Shenandoah, then we do have a what could be very well a possible spin up of a new tornado. Now let's see what we have from the National Weather Service. Hail up to 3/4 of an inch. Wind will be up to 80 miles per hour, and this is a destructive situation with gusty straight line winds that are so intense. So the lawn furniture needs to get battened down, and anywhere along this leading edge, it's not impossible to see a brief spin up, including this area right here that Hutch is circling. If you're not familiar with Hutch, I'm a meteorologist who's been working on the air doing meteorology for the better part of the last 30 years, teaching meteorology in classrooms to college students as well in the Northern Plains. That's my home territory, but I've been doing this for a long time, spent some time in research as well, and I just love talking about the weather, and this is my new venture, talking about the weather, streaming the weather across the nation and up in the Northern Plains where I am from. This is looking a little bit more intense. I'm going to take a look at some other tools from the Omaha radar here to analyze this particular storm. And we're looking here at the different, well, I'm just going to say this is what we call correlation coefficient. It means how much are the targets alike when we compare a vertically oriented pulse to a horizontally oriented one. And if the signals are very close to the same, then we likely have round targets that are the same width as they are height. But debris can be wildly different in its orientation as it's flown through the sky. And we do have some blue showing up there, showing lower correlation. And that's something that might be correlated with what we were just looking at. And that was that Shenandoah area possibly seeing some rotation moving in. Also, we can have gusty straight line winds blowing up a whole bunch of junk and kicking up debris of their own. It doesn't mean a tornado's on the ground, but it does mean that we have some objects that are in the sky right now. The radar is detecting that have wildly different signals coming back to them from the horizontal and vertical oriented beams. Now let's take a look at another product here that I want to see. If we put our finger on that Highway 2 sign right where this storm is, we're going to compare another thing called differential reflectivity. How different is the reflectivity? If we have from one beam to the next a huge difference in the reflectivity, then that could be a sign of some debris or whatnot. So look at this big area of red. That's a high difference in the reflectivity. Raindrops don't have highly different reflectivities oftentimes. Hailstones don't always have that unless they're really weird shaped. So there is the possibility here that we do have some debris or dust getting kicked up with that storm. That's heading in the general direction of Shenandoah right now. So some indications are that this wind here is kicking up some serious dust and debris at the very least. And there's even some spin showing up with that. That's outside of Nebraska City, looking down on the south side here of this storm near Syracuse as well. Looking at this storm in the Syracuse area, again, we don't see a lot of pinks with this. The hail is not huge with this particular storm. It's the wind, folks. And along that leading edge is where that main wind event is going to be. There was a confirmed tornado on the ground. Now it is a Doppler indicated tornado. So let's go ahead and see what the Weather Service's latest update is here. Latest location was 11 miles northeast of Council Bluffs, moving northeast at 45 now. So if we take you in just a little bit closer, this storm, 11 miles northeast of Council Bluffs. So there's Omaha, Council Bluffs. They've trimmed the warning back just a little bit, and now we're just worried about this. You see these little areas that look like there's bites taken out of the storm? Those areas right there are areas where we could have well, when you get a spin up like that, the rotation in that spinning motion, that vertically oriented column of spin can throw raindrops, hailstones, and other things like that out of it. So we get a lower reflectivity in the middle. So either of those areas could possibly have some spin. Let's go to the velocity product here and see what we can see. And again, yeah, we do see that confirmed area in the same area where we did have the bite taken out of the storm, just south and to the east of the McClellan area, not far from Quick. And that rotating part of the storm is moving off to the northeast or east at about 45 miles per hour. So let's put it in the direction of movement here. We'll put 45 miles per hour and we'll say, here we go. So tornado, radar indicated, being near Oakland in about 18 minutes. So that is a look and an update for our my friends out in parts of eastern Nebraska with what's going on. Again, my name is Hutch Johnson. I'm just doing updates here for a little bit of a look more around the country with regards to what kind of weather is going on tonight, as the severe risk does continue for, well, a good portion of the central plain states, including the northern plains, my home territory. It looks like we do have some severe storms, or strong ones at the very least. Here's some severe storm warnings taking place right now in the area east of Goodland, Kansas. So let's go out there. That's some huge hail. I found some huge hail potential from this storm moving into, whoopsies, I got to move my radar over here from behind my head so you can also see. So there is a severe thunderstorm warning. This includes the Concordia area, a bigger view so you get a feel. It's just outside of Manhattan, Kansas, and Kansas City. So here's a line of storms that is progressing its way, and it's moving in the general direction. We have a huge area of warnings, and this one has the hail potential here. This 3 means that the radar is estimating upwards of 3+ inch diameter hail. Copious amounts of lightning, and it's moving off in the general direction of that white line you see there. I will go ahead and take a look at the storm to see what the latest radar estimate of movement. It's very slow, 15 miles per hour. The National Weather Service says tennis balls and 70 mile per hour wind, tennis ball size hail, 70 mile per hour wind, considerable damage. This storm is basically continuing with a warning for the next 31 minutes. The National Weather Service says this storm, at their latest estimate, is moving southeast-east at 30. It looks like if we go ahead and loop this, we'll show you the movement of the storm. over the last several scans, a little more than an hour here. So you'll see it kind of creep its way down. Looks like they're coming in from the west-northwest, developing right here, slowly moving off to the east. So not moving terribly fast. And let's go to the latest scan. Yeah, a little bit of a southeasterly drift to this particular thunderstorm cell right here. And that cell working its way generally in that areas north of Glasgow. I'm going to put it in at 25 miles per hour. It looks like it's not quite as fast as some of the other estimates, and it looks like it stays over rural parts of Kansas. South of Concordia is where the main threat will be. If you're in Concordia, you are in the warned part of the storm. Gusty straight line wind there with this bowing shape to it. This hail core down here, because it is so big, could burp out some very gusty winds on the south side of this storm in moments. So we'll keep our eyes on that. And you should as well by staying informed. If you're out in the Hayes, Kansas area, we have a couple of severe thunderstorms out in your neck of the woods. These storms are moving off east-northeasterly towards Waukene. Just south of Waukene, we have a hail-producing storm that's upwards of 2 inches in diameter out there, crossing the Highway 283 corridor right now. So in these areas, prepare for large hail, gusty straight-line winds. Heat a problem anywhere you see the pinks across the nation, and this peach color here as well. Those areas are in heat advisories in peach, heat warnings in areas of the purple colors that you see there. Severe thunderstorms moving through the Virginia's area, Kentucky rather, pardon me. As I take you in east of the Richmond area, we have a severe thunderstorm warning. This thunderstorm cluster here moving off to the east, backward C shape, gusty winds, definitely going to be an issue. The National Weather Service says that with this particular storm, we're worried about 60 mile per hour winds as the main threat from that storm, and 3/4 inch diameter hail as the storm is moving east at a rapid clip of 50 miles per hour. So that storm right there is heading out of Jackson and heading in the general direction of Pikeville. We also have storms moving out of Corbin and south. We have a flash flood warning, or a flood warning, it looks like. Let's take a look at this. Flash flood warning, radar indicated. Why? Well, rainfall. A lot of rainfall has caused some flash flooding to take place. 1 to 2 inches of rain have fallen, and flooding is expected to begin shortly. So turn around, don't drown, find a different route if you're driving through that area. And by the way, all of these green areas are flood watches from these storms. So a lot of rain in these areas has fallen and is possible from these storms moving into toward the Oneida area as well. So that is a look across the greater U.S. with regards to our weather. We do have a lot of it going on in the Central Plains tonight. And a brief review for those of you still with me from the Fargo area. We do have active warnings now in place for you folks in and around Alexandria, Elbow Lake, Morris, Glenwood, all these areas here. Hail has already been reported to be baseball sized. We've had wind damage across the region from these storms. If you're in Alexandria, prepare for your next round of severe storms to be making its way towards you. Ping pong ball size hail. These storms, oh yeah, there it is. It's moving into Alexandria and points south on the I-94 corridor right now as it works its way through. Hopefully the majority misses Alexandria. Big time hail, upwards of 2, maybe 2.5 inches in diameter. Gusty winds are going to be a huge problem in Morris. The backward C shape shows that. That is a look at your weather. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. You're watching Hutch's Weather. Thank you so much for watching. As always, stay tuned to me here on Hutch's Weather on all my platforms, including my brand new website, hutchesweather.com. Until next time, stay tuned to me here on Hutch's Weather and hutchesweather.com, and stay safe.